Alright, what is up, my friends? Hey, look, I'm over here. I'm not down there, I'm over here. How's it going, my friends? Welcome. So, today, we're doing something a little bit different. I did this for last major arena tournament, and the content went over pretty well. And what we're doing today is a review of my final 3 matches that I played yesterday in the arena, I think it's Zendikar Rising qualifier. I played Rakdos Goblins, as you can see. And my list, just the list I've been playing for the last while. You can see it on the screen right now. I think my main deck was actually pretty standard. I think Emma Handy played the exact same list in the main deck. -1 Chainwhirler, +1 Torch Courier, and then obviously a mono red mana base. So pretty standard main deck. My sideboard is a little bit different. I was playing 2 Call of a Death Dweller for the matchups based on creatures, the mirror, things like that. 4 Chainwhirler to go with that. 2 copies of Blast Zone for answering things like Grafdigger's Cage, as well as Hushbringer and the Auras deck. 1 Cratermaker, a couple Ringleaders from the fair matchups, a couple Thoughtseizes. So that's the list. Nothing too revolutionary here for sure. And as I said, I'm going to be going over my final 3 matches in the tournament, and we're going to find out whether I'm playing in day 2 later or not. And we'll be doing this at 1.5 speed. This is also a no-nonsense stream. That's right, no soundboard shenanigans. We're focusing on going over my lines of play and things like that. And yeah, I want to remind everyone, of course, watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Watching on Twitch, make sure you follow. Check out the full set review for Zendikar Rising, which is on my YouTube now. It's popping off. And also check out the early access stream next week on Wednesday, my 10 new brews. Super pumped for that. Zendikar Rising, of course, my stream, 10-hour stream where I do 10 new brews. The article with that, all the YouTube videos, and everything else. If you want to find out how I did yesterday, watch this. It's going to be the last 3 matches of it, so no spoilers, obviously. And the stream actually cut out yesterday in the middle of the last match. So now you'll see the thrilling conclusion. All right, so let's get going here. Again, we are at 1.5x speed. It was 43, I believe. Perfect. So we're starting in. We're gonna do match number. Yeah, match number. We're jumping in at 4 and 2. So we were 4 and 2, and let's go. All right. Whoa, that was quick. So yeah, pretty fine hand here. Wily Goblin and Phyrexian Tower, of course, super good. Chieftain, Muxus, pretty standard here. Opponent plays an Overgrown Tomb, which could be a few things. It could be some sort of sacrifice deck, but there's no companion. It could be Sultai. And I draw a Conspicuous Snoop, and the choice here is do I want to play Wily Goblin or Conspicuous Snoop. So Goblin is possibly faster. Snoop, getting Snoop online early is very nice because you are able to try and gain the value off of it, but also exposing it to removal early. So opponent plays Hinterland Harbor, and we should go over the Chieftain, probably playing Sultai. There's your Growth Spiral. I will be answering questions as I can. I actually slow it down a little bit. It's going pretty quick. Yeah, you know what? We're going to take a second to slow it down. A little too fast, I think. A little too fast. I want it to be faster than usual, but just give me 1 second here, folks. Take this moment to like, comment, subscribe, follow the channel, etc., etc. Folks. Expert Shot, resub, thanks so much. All right, so anyway, let's back up a little bit. Sorry about that. So Go for the Goblin, go for the Chieftain, opponent's playing Sultai, and little Growth Spiral action. So, got to balance, not playing too many things into Extinction Event, Ritual, so things like that, Languish, while also pressuring them before their endgame gets online. We also are building towards Muxus. So, when you have Muxus in the Goblin deck, your goal is to try and build your way towards it while making them deal with your other things. So, these decks are playing a lot of Essence Scatters, Disdainful Strokes, main deck Aether Gust, so not a matchup where you want to just jam Muxus. So you can see here we play a Snoop, looking for a card on top, don't find one, which is fine. Now we have a good board in play, 2-turn clock, and if our opponent plays a Wrath effect of some kind, we can play Muxus. With 6 mana, they can go like Languish and still have Essence Scatter up, which is pretty scary, but we have a Warchief as well. Opponent taps 6. Hydro Krasis, sure. So tapped out for Krasis is awesome. Now we can slam Muxus. Think about it for a moment here. Not really sure exactly. I think I was deciding if I wanted to use Phyrexian Tower and keep the treasure on the Wily Goblin, or just use the treasure. I decided just to cast it, and then keeping the Goblin in play makes sense. Not much I can hit for 1 mana. And they have Pact Negation. So definitely a big surprise there. I can't really play around that one, honestly. I mean, it's just free, obviously. So this cost them their next turn. Good news being that we're going to get to our turn with Snoop in play again, but can't really attack. So they're 14, pay for their Pact, play land, and have a Thoughtseize. So now we're all in on Snoop. Easy game, right? Easy game. Muxus on top, and that looks to be pretty lethal. So worked out well. The Sultai matchup seems kind of tough, honestly. If they're playing a lot of like Essence Scatters or Counter Spells, Pact Negation, things like that. If they're able to deal with your stuff and then counter your Muxus, it can be difficult. So sideboarding here, tend to board out Skirk Prospector against decks where they either have Counter Spells or Wraths or both, because you don't want to commit a bunch of Goblins into casting a spell and get it countered, nor do you want to put a bunch of things in play and get Wrathed. So shave down on Prospectors. We bring in, let's see if we got a full. Also, I tend to be cutting a Phyrexian Tower in these spots. I brought in the 2 Blast Zones. It's kind of a hedge. With Chainwhirler out of a deck, it's fairly free. And just in case they have Cage or some sort of graveyard hate, I'm not graveyard hate, whatever, hate in general. And then it's just a tiny bit of value from your lands. Phyrexian Tower, same problem, where don't want to sacrifice things and get it countered. So we shave one of those. Shave a Mountain as well for the 2 Blast Zones. Gempalm, never going to kill anything. Cut the Chainwhirler, it's not really necessary. And then I bring in 2 Thoughtseize. I don't want a ton of Thoughtseize against these decks usually. Honestly, I would like to bring in the 3rd Thoughtseize for a Prospector. It's kind of necessary for the counter spells. Beating counter spells is kind of annoying. Obviously, no Cavern of Souls in Historic. Take the Cratermaker back out. Bring the 3rd Thoughtseize. Pretty happy with this. Leave in 2 Prospectors, which is fine. The big thing here is not to go all in. And for a while, I was cutting Wily Goblin instead of Prospector in these kind of matchups because the body felt so small and worthless. But I think that having a body and a treasure as 2 separate things is more valuable against Wrath of God effects and things like that. So I think Treasure Goblin is actually better than Skirk Prospector in a matchup like this. So up a game. And not a great hand, but somewhat Thoughtseize proof. Got lands. Honestly, lands are the important. If your hand is bad in Goblins, the thing you want is lands. Because at least with lands, you can draw into Matron, you can draw into Muxus, you can draw into the bigger things. If your hand is bad and it's only like a 2-lander or maybe even a 3-lander, you can't draw out of it super well. I'd rather, if say I mulligan to 5, I'd rather have a 5-card hand of 5 lands than like a 2-land hand with like some crappy whatevers. So, what's up, Map Hacker? Did I miss Long Island? I'm still on Long Island. So, draw Warchief. I lead on Warchief over Chieftain here. I think Chieftain's a little more important later in the game. And, of course, Warchief can lead towards a faster Muxus. No worries, Map Hacker. So, Languish. So, not a bad Languish. I mean, it was a 2-for-1 technically, but obviously our Wily Goblin's like half the Goblin. Cast Thoughtseize, look at Aether Gust and Ugin. So, not a very good hand for our opponent. They've got 2 lands and an Ugin. They're away from casting that. We play Chieftain. We have Muxus rolled up for next turn. So everything's coming up Millhouse here for the most part. And just jam. No reason not to jam here. We know every card in their hand but 1. And if we hit, we win the game on the spot. And if they counter it, we still attack for 2. You know, so... And then pretty easy first match there. Not first match, but it's a pretty easy round. That was round 6 for me. So yeah, nothing too crazy there. Mostly just cast Muxus and won the game. And we're gonna slide forward to our next match. You can see here we're at 5 wins and 2 losses. 7 wins is the money mark. Once you hit 7 wins, you qualify for day 2 of the qualifier. And qualify for your qualified qualifier. And this is Nicole's aunt came by, so all right. So going in for match number 8 at 5 and 2, need 2 more wins to qualify for a day 2. And yes, hi Jim. How are you doing? How are you doing? Yes, you are talking to the side of a screen. We get it. We get it. So again, if you're tuning in, we're going over my final 3 matches from yesterday's qualifier. Any questions, ask them in chat. I'll try to get to them. Watching on YouTube, make sure you leave your comments in the matches here. All right, so in the dark, on the draw, 5 lands, Chainwhirler, Warchief. Not a great hand. Chainwhirler is definitely a good catch-up card. So if we are behind and they have a fast draw, Chainwhirler can mop up a little bit. We have a Warchief, which is fine. We have a Tower. We have a Canyon Slough if we flood a bit. Again, more important to have more Goblin or more lands than less lands, because again, you draw a single Matron, you draw a single Muxus, and your hand's great. So basic Forest, go. I don't draw a land, decide to put a Slough. Once you draw a Matron, that's our Muxus too, so having more lands is important. Another Forest and Explore. And then another Forest. So kind of a weird start here. I know there was a mono green Planeswalker deck at the Mythic Invitational. Mindstone, sure. Visionary, sure. So they're kind of cranking it out here. They have a bunch of mana next turn, and we draw a Gempalm. Can't really use it. Pretty safe spot, just play Warchief here. Warchief helps enable all of our cards, lowers the costs. Matroning for Muxus, we're still pretty far off from casting that. I think it's a pretty easy Warchief here, and then obviously a no attack, so you don't want to trade with the Visionary. Not really sure exactly what's going on over there. Karn, the Great Creator, shows up. Karn gets a Grabdigger's Cage. So now we're off of the Muxus plan. Also, our Snoops are a little worse. We draw a Krenko, which is a very good draw. Krenko plus Warchief, obviously great. And then against a deck like this, they don't really have any removal. So once you get Krenko and Warchief online, you kind of just start going nuts. So we can definitely beat this cage with Muxus. I mean, with Krenko and Warchief, and just kind of like playing a fair game Magic. Can we review the review tomorrow for Triple Jim?
Good morning, Jim. Hope all is well. By the way, you are now my second longest relationship I have.
Reshard, thanks for resub. We could also go Matron here and then use the Gempalm to kill the Visionary. And so this does, what this does is we get to Gempalm this, attack and kill Karn. So playing Krenko didn't actually kill Karn this turn, which felt pretty important. So Matron for a Ringleader, getting Ringleader because obviously the Muxus is not in play with the cage. Able to kill the Karn and kill the creature, little mana kill there as well. Opponent plays Voracious Hydra to kill the Warchief, which kind of sucks because now our Krenko's worse. But we're not really in a huge rush at the moment. We have Ringleader. We have plenty of things to do. Looking for another haste effect for turn on Krenko, but obviously Ringleader can find that pretty well. And the good news is that if we find a Warchief, next turn we can go Warchief and Krenko in the same turn. So Ringleader finding Goblin Warchief here would be great. We could Matron for a Warchief and then play Wily Goblin, but I don't think we're in like a super rush to find a Warchief. All right, so we Ringleader and it lets us down. Only gives us 1 card in Prospector. Not the worst though. So play Prospector. Matron could also get other things later too. So opponent plays Vivian. Only have 2 cards left, so play Visionary, draw a card, play land, so 1 card left, but a lot of mana. Pop the counters, spreading them out, make a 3/3 blocker, all pretty reasonable. We draw Chieftain, so ideal. So now with the Prospector, we can go Chieftain and Muxus, Krenko. So pretty great scenario here. They're also 2/2s, so able to make a bunch of creatures. Want to finish off Vivian here for sure. And then good news being, of course, these mono green decks don't play Ugin or anything. So once the board gets out of control, they can't really do a ton. They can, one-shot fight things, but not more than once usually. So we get Vivian out of here, send in a small attack. We're still at a good life total. What's up, Marvel? What's up, Zeriak? So, logical block here. Just eats one of the goblins. Takes a few damage. And now we're rolled up here. I mean, they play a second Vivian, which is necessary. They got to kill this Krenko. So they are able to kill the Krenko, but we still have like a whole bunch of power in play and a Chainwhirler. We got Matron in very good shape here. Opponent plays Llanowar Elves. Pretty hard for opponent to go on the defensive, and we just draw another Krenko. Sure. So we could have Matron for Krenko here. We could have done a lot of different things, and at this point, this game's basically over. I mean, I believe we play Chainwhirler first, kill the Llanowar Elves, kill the Vivian, and then just cast another Krenko and make a million goblins and attack. So against these decks, not really playing much removal. The Krenko plan is a really, really good one. We line up our attacks here. I believe we have lethal. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 unblocked attackers. So Krenko takes the day despite a Grafdigger's Cage. Grafdigger's Cage, no problem. No problem. Cage, of course, turns off Muxus, and it does turn off the Snoop ability, but you got to back it up with something else too. So against most creature decks, we board in our Call of the Death Dweller package and Goblin Chainwhirler, and take down our Ringleader usually. And against decks where finding Muxus isn't that bad, you can shave that on a Matron or 2. Usually I cut 3 of the Chieftains when the Chainwhirlers come in because it's less about trying to like you and more about board control, things like that. So leaving 1 and 2 to 4, but cut 3 Chieftains. Usually I cut a Ringleader in a match like this. Now the thing is, of course, they have Karn, so they're gonna have access to Grafdigger's Cage often. So I actually shave a Muxus here because we don't want to get stuck with Muxus in a Grafdigger's Cage scenario. We have plenty of Matrons to go find it anyway, and the first one's usually going to be good enough. Bring in the Cratermaker to also deal with possible artifacts. Don't bother with Thoughtseize. They're kind of a ramp deck, but it's just not really worth it. Our Krenko plan can beat them pretty good too. So, yeah, easy mode, sure. So, draw the opener. We have the Call and the Chainwhirler. The bad news is that they're mono green. They're not going to kill our Chainwhirler super often. Decks like Rakdos Sacrifice, things like that, will usually kill a Chainwhirler. But we draw Prospector, very lucky, so now we can sacrifice it. Opponent plays Visionary, which is fine. We just jam a Chainwhirler here. Now we can sack it to Prospector and call it back when necessary. Also got 2 Krenkos. A little worse at the haste effects, but still quite good. Turn 4 Nissa on the play. So make a 3/3 and tap the thing and play a Llanowar Elves. Now, we got an interesting discussion here. So right now, we could just pop off on this Chainwhirler if we want to. That would leave them with 4 lands, a Nissa, and 3 cards in hand, though. And I don't think we're under enough pressure to need to do that. We have multiple Chainwhirlers. Chainwhirler can block the forest. Chainwhirler can kill Llanowar Elves. It can pressure the Nissa a little bit. So while it might be tempting to go for the call here, I'm really happy to wait and not go for it. I don't recall we played Krenko or Chainwhirler this turn. Attacking Nissa's also, I mean, we could like poke the Nissa for 3, play Chainwhirler, kill Llanowar Elves, and set up, or we could just play the Krenko. If we play Krenko and attack Nissa, though, we're taking a pretty huge hit in the backswing. I don't actually recall what we do here beyond waiting for call. All right, so we go for the attack on the Nissa. They chump block, which makes playing Chainwhirler worse, and then we decide to play Krenko.
In Jim's stream.
What's up, Lon? So, play Krenko and say go. Right, so now we lead with a bunch of mana, but they're playing mono green. They're not playing Ugin. Like, there's not much they can really do with a bajillion mana, like play Krasis or whatever. So, they play Elder Gargoth and they play Vivian, and we look like a genius. So now, of course, our Call of the Death Dweller looks 1,000 times better, because now we're going to be killing their entire board and their Vivian. So, pretty awesome. Are we the control in this matchup? That's an interesting question. I would say, I guess they are the beatdown. I would say that we have the inevitability. So to answer your question, I guess yes. But I think playing flip lands and paper will be annoying. Nah, it's fine. Easy mode, thanks so much. So they play a Karn. So now they still have Nissa in play. So we're not like out of the woods yet. We do have a first strike, death touch, menace, Chainwhirler, which is pretty awesome, obviously. They get a cage and play it, and they make a 3/3. So now they have a Karn on 3, a Nissa on 6, and a 3/3 blocker, and a cage. Of course, cage does turn off our Snoop, unfortunately, so we have a Snoop on top. But Chainwhirler still has menace, which is pretty good. So Chainwhirler can just kill the Karn directly, which is important because that's kind of their method of card advantage right now. And Nissa being an army of 3/3s isn't really beating us, so we're kind of cool with that. You know, we have Krenko ready to go. We got Chainwhirler. We have Blastone to kill his cage if we absolutely need to. So we're in a spot where we're not really scared of much. Like I actually looked up their deck list at some point, like the deck that did well at the Mythic Invitational. Make sure that it didn't have Ugin, but excuse me. So deciding what to do here. I think I didn't also realize that the Chainwhirler had menace for a second. I was trying to figure out if I needed to attack with more than one thing, but Chainwhirler killing Karn works out perfectly. And then I sent a Snoop at the Nissa. So the point here is their main resource right now is just lands. They just have these forests, and that's really it. Forest and Nissa. So we get to just kill the forest here. We traded Snoop for the forest, which I think is a good trade overall. And we play Krenko. Don't really need the Prospector anymore, so this is the best tempo play. We still have the Blastone in play. We have Snoop available. They play land, tap for 8, play a huge Hydra, and kill the Krenko, which kind of sucks. But now they've got some forests and Hydra. We still have our Chainwhirlers. The Death Touch Chainwhirler is doing an insane job playing defense because it has Death Touch and First Strike. Blastone can kill this cage. Land on top, nothing too exciting. We can attack Nissa with the Death Touch Chainwhirler, but then we get attacked back for a lot. So not really super great. We're holding the fort here, and we're going to have the ability to start snooping next turn because we can pop the Blastone and kill the cage. So we just say go here and just chill. Not a lot of ways for them to push through this wall. So again, we have the inevitability with Snoop. Nissa's only making a 3/3 every turn in this deck. It's not fueling out Krasis. It's not fueling out Ugin, things like that. So could be worse. Could be worse. End step pop Blastone. Top card's a land. So now we're in a bit of a stalemate because they have a Nissa and we have all lands. But again, this army of 3/3s ain't doing much, and there's the Mux Daddy. So inevitability, I am inevitable. And then we hit the nuts and win the game. So that's the match. So pretty clean match there, honestly. Matchup feels pretty good. 6-2. That's our first 2 matches. Going into the final round here. Again, this is a qualifier weekend. It is first to 7 wins or 2 losses. And you can see that I have 2 losses and I have 6 wins. Win this match, and we're playing what would be today on day 2, later on today. We lose this match, and you go home. You get some gems. All right, so we play against Beef Heart. Beef Heart. And we are on the draw, and pretty fine hand here. 2-drop, 3-drop Muxus, can't ask for more. Again, you want to be a little land heavy because making your 6 drops is very important. Snoop is great on 2, obviously. Warchief on 3. Snoop and Warchief are both must kills, so it's nice to have a couple must kill cards. Opponent's got a Gigantha, probably a sacrifice deck. Turn 2, Dreadhorde Butcher. So kind of an annoying turn 2 play. We're going to play Snoop with the intent to block. Top card is a land, which is fine. We need to get 6 lands, so. Bone Crusher Giants, not good. So now the Butcher is beyond our capacity to block successfully. So we play Warchief here. It's the most mana efficient play. We can go Snoop and Goblin next turn and set up for a turn 5 Muxus. They play Priest, attack for 3. Now we're at 14. We draw land, which is fine. So here we play Snoop and Wily Goblin. There's actually a Warchief on top. So we decided to play that instead. So I play the Warchief for free. That does mean that our Muxus is going to be pretty good next turn. And here I think I make a mistake. So here I send with everything. And at this point, we win this game by not dying and not getting cheesed out. However, by letting them hit me with this Butcher, I go to 10. Then they can sack it, and I go to 5. So you can see I'm pretty annoyed here because I realize what happened. I'm dead to like 100 different things here, like 100. They play their 3rd land. I believe I'm dead to a Mayhem Devil by itself. They attack with the Butcher. They deal me 4. I go to 10. Then they play Mayhem Devil, and they sack the Devil and the Butcher. So I'm at 10. Butcher is 5. Priest is 2. And then the Devil triggers are... Actually, maybe that is not. Maybe that's a little short. So 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's actually 1 short. Leaving them tapped out. Because the devil won't see the sacrifice that I make. So I'm not actually dead to Devil. I thought I was. But I'm dead to other things too. And the Snoop probably needs to stay home here. I can even stay home other things as well. If they target themselves with the Priest, that won't work. Because the Devil will be sacrificed before the Priest gets sacrificed. But attacking here when I have Muxus next turn almost guaranteed, it's just extremely risky and allows me to get cheesed out. And they obviously have all spells in their hand because they didn't play a land last turn. So they claim they're able to steal the Snoop and attack with the Snoop and the Butcher. Gets in for 6. Second Butcher, that might also do it. So I put us to 8. And now they can sacrifice the Butcher. And then they have a Cauldron Familiar on top. Why do they know they have Cauldron Familiar on top? Oh, the Snoop. Oh, duh, right. So yeah, so they had Cauldron Familiar on top, and they were able to sack, and the Familiar was the last point they needed. So, did they get lucky to have a Cauldron Familiar on top? Absolutely. Could I have prevented this? Absolutely. There's just no reason to be aggressive there when I have Muxus in my hand. If anything, I should have played the Goblin and just gotten a block in, or left multiple things back. So they end up exactly killing me from a spot where I probably should have won, which is pretty shitty. Definitely does not feel too good. You know, it's important to recognize how the game's going to play out, and getting cheesed out, letting yourself get cheesed out is not a good place to be. Not a good place to be. So pretty unhappy about that. You can see on my face, I'm obviously pretty annoyed. But got to keep playing, of course. So we know where they're playing. We don't know they're playing Jund or Rakdos yet because they didn't play many lands or spells that game. They literally cast like 3 spells. What match is this? This is our final match. Today we're covering the last 3 matches. So we played against Sultai, we won. We played against Mono Green, Planeswalkers, we won. This is the final match to determine if we make the 8-2 or not. So usual sideboard and plan, bringing in the Chainwhirler package with the Death Dwellers, cut 3 Chieftains, cut the Ringleader, shave a Matron, and then that's basically it. honestly. Just want to get the Death Dweller going, want to get the Muxus. Krenko is very important because they struggle to kill it. You can't claim the Firstborn it, you can't stomp it, and so on and so forth. So considering other things, but pretty happy to go. So back against the wall, down a game. After probably punting game 1. Not a very happy place to be, but keep here. We're on the play. It's a 2-lander, but Snoop double Chainwhirler call. You just can't not keep his hand. Opponent mulligans. Unfortunately, Snoop doesn't find lands very well, but draw Matron, not good, but land on top. Thank God. So now we're ready to play some Magic. They go Blood Crypt, Bone Crusher Giant. You keep drawing this Bone Crusher Giant, which is pretty annoying, but so draw a land, play Chainwhirler, just say go. They're at 17. Want to pressure a bit. Want to put them in a spot where they got to kill this Chainwhirler so we can get our call online. So right now we have no way to put it in the graveyard ourselves. Stomping Ground. So they are playing Jund. Hardcast Bone Crusher Giant, which is fine. Here the option to play Matron or Chainwhirler. Try the Whirler. They're already at 12. This puts them into 11. Kind of forces them to have some action here. Still building towards Matrix and Muxus. So they have Witch's Vengeance. So pretty good, obviously. Just straight 2 for 1. They attack for 4. However, the good news is they put a Chainwhirler into our graveyard, which is nice. They shock and they play Familiar. So now we have call whenever we want it. Draw Phyrexian Tower, which is kind of nice. We go for our Matron. Now, we search for another Muxus here to play around Thoughtseize because we are almost guaranteed to have Muxus next turn. If Matron lives, we have it. And if they kill the Matron, we draw any land, we have it. So, trying to play our Thoughtseize effect here or something like that. Not going to block, so I want to keep the Matron for the tower. They play a Woe Strider. They get a Goat. Play a land. 2 cards, let them say go. So we draw a land. We do have the option to just call here. But, I mean, Muxus is pretty sick, obviously. So, we also have 4 Chainwhirler in our decks. Just hitting a Chainwhirler naturally is pretty good, which we do. So, hit a Goblin, a Snoop, a Chainwhirler. So, kill a couple things. Build a pretty big board here. If they have a second Witch's Vengeance, it's honestly a little scary, which is maybe a reason to play the call first. But, again, we could have just won the game here a lot of the time. So, take it. Fire the Matron, because if they have call, they have call. Might as well get the point in. They have a Mayhem Devil and a Witch's Oven. So, certainly not bad. They're, getting their engine online. They have a Familiar in the graveyard. But at this point, call is probably going to end the game next turn. So, they're deciding what they can do on their turn. They can obviously they have a few pings available. They can sack the Woe Strider, the Bone Crusher Giant, get back the Familiar, shoot some things. So, draw land. Top card is Wily Goblin. Pretty happy to just cast call here. Yes, Muxus would survive the Vengeance and get the block, but all right. So fire up the call, kill all their stuff. They can obviously kill a few things here, but might have been better to play the Wily Goblin first. Doesn't actually matter. So play the Wily Goblin first in case they want to kill my Snoop, but whatever. So call works out really well there, which is nice. And game 3, all the marbles, every single one. Coming up. Nide over Jund, not Grixis. So, think a bit about sideboarding, but nothing really to change here. Pretty happy with the spread. Call a lot. Want both towers. Don't want Blast Zone. It can kill an oven, but don't really like the it's just really slow. And then makes casting Chainwhirler a little harder. And we want our towers because they play well with call. So, don't want to have too many colorless lands. The Beatles. I decided to shave a Prospector for a Cratermaker. Just one extra answer to both Oven and the 1-2. I think that's fine. They also have Witch's Vengeance, so, you know, we want to go a little bit less on the weaker parts. So kind of an awkward hand here. Obviously double tower, 2 towers, Sauron and Saruman is not ideal. But we got Snoop and Chainwhirler and Krenko on the draw, keeping this hand. Any red source and our hands on. So we draw Slough, which is fine. It's also our black source too. So tower is not super reliable. They go Oven, go, and then land go. I tanked forever here. I don't want to play a Snoop because what the hell could they have here? It's not a kill spell. You know, just so I think for a really long time, I do have 2 Snoops. I end up casting one. I'm not convinced it's correct. I'm really, really big on just not playing things into your opponent's removal because they have to play their kill spells on curve, and you're just trading inefficiently. And it's kind of like all the playing around control strategy where you just don't want to play your things when they want to play their things. So, but I decided to play it. I'm not sure if it's correct or not. It doesn't. Obviously, they stomp here, and I look like an idiot, which makes me very unhappy. I think I maybe shouldn't have played it in retrospect, but so they play a land, no green, but it's a Phyrexian Tower, and they have a Mayhem Devil, which kind of sucks. Obviously, one of their best cards. So draw land, play Chainwhirler, blocks the Devil pretty well. If they have like a claim here, things get kind of ugly too. But play some defense. They shock in an Overgrown Tomb. And say go. So pretty obvious company, you know. All right, 4th land. I guess it's your turn. So we know they have company, which feels bad. Chainwhirler, a second Chainwhirler does block really well. But Krenko certainly has higher upside. Definitely not playing Snoop. We also have the line of, we have Phyrexian Tower. So if we play Chainwhirler and play Tower, we can sacrifice something if they try and claim the Firstborn it. So we can at least like deny them a little bit of value there. But tank forever. Pretty sure I play Krenko here. Ends up being the choice. Just the highest upside choice. We already have a good blocker. So play Krenko, say go. They fire off the company. Just kidding. Whiff. Stone whiff. So, wow. They shock again, and they play Korvold. So, whiff, obviously insane for us. Korvold is really, really good. They sack a land, draw a card, ping us for 1, and say go. And we draw the Mux Father. So we untap, and now with Phyrexian Tower, we're ready to Mux. We're ready to go here. So think for a moment. I do have to sacrifice a Goblin to activate or the tower to cast Muxus. So decide to Krenko first, then sack the. I think I sack the actual Krenko itself because you usually hit more Krenkos with your Muxus. So trading whiffs. Take it easy mode. Don't jinx me. So fire up Krenko for 2 tokens, and we sack the Krenko itself because again we hope to hit one off of the Muxus. Unfortunately, that does trigger the Mayhem Devil, so we kill a token, which is fine. And play the Mux Father. Live by the Mux, die by the Mux. So Mux comes in, hits a Wily Goblin, a Warchief, and a Prospector. So decent hit. Nothing crazy, but a decent hit. Unfortunately, playing Snoop doesn't really do much, and playing Chainwhirler doesn't really do much. So we're kind of stuck with like a decent attack here, but nothing great. Also, the Mayhem Devil's making things super awkward because sacrificing things to Prospector or Treasure just kind of wrecks our entire board. So send in Mux Daddy to 9/9, and then get ready for next turn. 9's a lot, so Korvold, the unplayable foil box topper. I assume you're referring to the fact that it's a Pringle, not that it's a bad card. This is ridiculous. So they block with their Mayhem Devil and sack to the Oven. They'll draw a card, do a ping. So looking pretty good here. You know, it's Korvold versus the world. They kill Prospector, which is fine. Now, obviously, with the Mayhem Devil dead, Prospector's a lot better. So there you go. 19 to 15. Corvold is good, but our board's also pretty good. Gotta hold on. The problem is, even if we do hold on, we're not really winning for a turn or two. And Corvold is freaking huge. So we gotta hope that Snoop does good things next turn. A lot of big draws, obviously. Call of a Death Dweller. Actually, I don't know if we have a Chamberlain in the graveyard. All right, so familiar, do some stuff, draw some cards. Corvold is just insane. I don't really understand the like design philosophy behind Corvold and Muxus. Just like these absolutely busted 5 and 6 mana spells that win the game completely by themselves. So they draw some more cards, they get the company, they spike a Strider and a Devil. And now things are starting to look pretty bad. They have another Oven. And shit. Bring back Cauldron Familiar. And yeah. They played one spell and we're dead. Match review complete. So they kill us here, spoiler alert, from 19 life. With 4 lands, a Corvold, and a Witch's Oven. From 19 life, they kill us. So, pretty shitty. Don't really think we had any major choices this game. That game one, that we should have won that game. Just chump block once and win that game. That was bad. That was bad. Corvold's bad and everything. So, obviously, kind of sucks. It sucks pretty bad to lose the last match. I started 1-2 in the qualifier as well. Worked it back up to 6-2, and then unfortunately, obviously, we lose this match, which really sucks. Sacrifice deck is good. Sacrifice deck is definitely good, but yeah, I agree, VTM. That the raw power of cards like Corvold and Muxus, like just winning the game by themselves, is kind of shitty. But it wasn't unlucky at all. I mean, I just literally played bad in the first game. I should have won the first game, and then I have 2 games to win, two games to win. You know, and I won the game too. So I mean, obviously it's different on the play and the draw and stuff. But yeah, just straight punted that game one. Just block once. You know, like just live. Just cast your Corvold. I mean your Muxus. You know my dumb bomb, not their dumb bomb. So yeah, just chuck game one, which kind of sucks. Again, it'd be really easy to look at this match and be like, God, Corvold's so stupid. They got so lucky. They whiffed on a company that game. But the reality is in game one, we could play better. And unfortunately, the rule in Magic is you cannot complain about luck unless you played 1,000% perfectly. So if you play a tournament, at no point can you complain unless you played every single game perfectly, which obviously no one does. So luck is just not worth complaining about in any capacity. I should have won that game one. My losses in the tournament were to a mono blue Yorion flash deck. And I lost to, I believe, another sacrifice deck that kind of went off. And those are my 3 losses. So I know Leyline of Combustion was a card being tossed around a little bit for these matchups. It says whenever you or something you control will be targeted, they take 2. So they can't just ping all your stuff. But yeah, again, my opponent's hand wasn't good this game. They cast a Collected Company and whiffed and still won the game, which feels awful. Also in this game, we did play that Snoop on turn 2. That was this game, right? Or was that game? That was the previous game? I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, so that's my tournament. Definitely sucks to come so close and fall, but what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? So 6-2. I won some gems. Historic's in a weird spot right now. Goblins is obviously super prevalent, but the sacrifice decks are all really, really good. That's it. So YouTube folks, let me know if you like this content. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you enjoy these sorts of gameplay reviews a little more serious, a little more analytical, a little less, If so, let me know. YouTube folks, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.